We post them on Facebook, we tweet them, and we Instagram them. But before the marriage of phones and cameras, the digital camera defined disruptive technology. Steve Sasson was an engineer at Eastman Kodak in the late 1970s when he invented the digital camera.
Digital had kind of a bad reputation back in the 70s. There really were no digital consumer products, right? Today, everything's digital. You can't buy anything that doesn't have digital in the title. But back then, digital was sort of experimental. It was difficult to understand. It was expensive. It was esoteric, maybe unreliable.
It was an invention that would change the world of photography. Kodak patented the digital camera in 1978. While the invention was a technological innovation, it also marked the beginning of Kodak's demise. Sasson called his invention filmless photography. It could have been Kodak's second act. It was time for something new to build on the success of the cartridge camera in the 1960s. Fast forward 5 years. Larry Madison, a former senior vice president at Kodak, pinpoints the year Kodak began its long slide toward bankruptcy.
In 1983, we introduced several major products. And the large one in the consumer area was the disc camera. And it was a very significant investment for the company. And that was introduced in 1982. But by the end of 1983, it was clear that was going to not be a success.
By the end of the 1980s, digital imaging was squeezing Kodak's profit margins in the consumer space. It was a revolving door in the C-suite. CEO Colby Chandler and his successor Kay Whitmore had a big problem. Transitioning from the 70 to 80% margins of photo film sales to the 3 to 4% margins of consumer electronics.
From 83 through 93, they were run by experienced Kodak managers who had grown up in the Kodak style. And that's not meaning that it was a bad style. If you look at what Kodak did in the last half of the 80s, they put a lot of money into looking in diversification.